Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. This is Josiah Cannon, and this is the Power to the People podcast. Um, Today, I'm here with Alexis Stattion. Is that how you say your last name?
It's actually Staten, like the island.
Staten. Okay, perfect. Yeah, and we're just gonna have a little conversation and then approach a main theme. And yeah, so you know how this goes. Um, this project, this podcast is a project basically created through this program that we're both a part of called ABEN, which is an educational program. And what this podcast is basically looking to do is just find people and just talk to people who are helping to uplift and help to grow with the Black community as a whole. So that's what it's all about. So welcome, Alexis. We really appreciate you being on right now, just taking some time to come talk with us and everything. So yeah, thank you for being here.
Oh, that's no problem. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, would you mind telling us a little bit about your projects? Because from what I know, it's basically um, you're learning, you're helping to teach people about financial literacy, right?
Yeah, so my project's kind of taken a bit of a turn just because of this year being super crazy. But the general goal is still the same, is trying to emphasize financial literacy and engage with students in regards to ensuring that they have the financial knowledge that they need in order to succeed in life. Though I've decided to also emphasize factors such as intergenerational wealth and poverty amongst Black communities, Black and Brown communities specifically, due to systematic racism and oppression and discrimination over the past decades and centuries that we've been in America. So I wanted, my basic idea is that I'm doing a 3 to 4 part video series addressing both the history of Black economic strife, generational wealth, poverty, and the cycle of crime. And then I'm going to move in from historical knowledge into practical knowledge that people can utilize so that way they have a better idea of what they're getting into when they're going into a capitalist system.
Yeah. I really like that because like not only like you're helping with the solutions, but you're also giving a bit of context to why things are the way they are and just giving us the tools to help move forward from that. So I really like that idea. Um, so yeah, also feel free to just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, where you go to school. So yeah,
Oh yeah, it's always something I probably should have mentioned beforehand, but
no,
my
that's
name's
my bad. No, you're good.
no, it's okay. My name is Alexis Statton, but I tend to go just by Alex. I go to the University of California, Merced, and I am studying political science with a minor in sociology. I've been associated with Miss Deborah Watkins, who's the one that introduced me to a Black Education Network, ABEN, and the Youth Civic Ambassadors for Justice, the program, for the better part of like 5 years now, 6 years.
Mm.
So we're pretty familiar with each other, and it's only recently that I got the pleasure of meeting Josiah um, through this project and through this organization. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I prefer cats over dogs. And anime over regular TV shows. So
Nice.
I don't know. That's basically all I got right now.
I'm actually in the same boat with the cats over dogs, but I'm biased because I've had cats all my life. But yeah, that's great. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
Of
So,
course.
so yeah, about like your project. So how far in the process are you with completing that, and like where do you think it's gonna like expand from there? Like, how are you gonna like where are you thinking of like posting this, and who are you gonna share it with?
So, in terms of the first part of your question, which was how far along with the project, the answer is basically not as far along as I would have hoped. I'm still in the research aspect of it, trying to make sure that I have like the history correct and that I'm addressing all the factors and facets that kind of go into why the system is the way it is and why these inequalities still prosper today, while also brushing up on my own knowledge of financial literacy and understanding of credit, understanding of loans and debt and investments and the markets and capitalism, etc. So, in terms of where I'm at, not very far along. But I'm hoping to actually get started on the video process in the coming weeks. Uh, this video series, I hope to put on YouTube and Facebook. I haven't found another avenue that I feel like would be able to reach a broader audience besides those two, other than maybe TikTok. But because it's like a video series, I don't think it'd actually be appropriate because it's too long. Maybe doing trailers or something like that, quick snippets of my videos, that way I can link them to my videos on YouTube and maybe increase my audience that way. But I hope to outreach as well to district, like my local city council, not my local city council, my local school districts, so as to ensure that, you know, the Black student unions and or other student unions on campuses are familiar with my project and familiar with what it's talking about, so that if they ever want to engage with the material, that they have those resources necessary to them. That's basically what the avenue I'm kind of taking in order to broadcast my message and broadcast my project. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear more about them because I'm at a loss as to how to do that. I'm not a very social media person, so I'm just hoping to find, you know, any places or any locations that I can broadcast my message without being like super annoying.
Yeah, of course. I personally, I'm kind of new to social media, but I've had it for a little over a year now, but I definitely will be sharing, I'll be spreading the word about your video series once it's coming out and everything. I think just like a suggestion, I feel like Facebook and like sharing it, like allowing Miss Deborah to help spread it to everyone else in that, like, in, you know, with her programs like GSP and stuff like that. I think that that would be a great way to spread word, because like, it's not always the kids that will always be interested, but the parents are a great avenue of like sifting it down to the kids to help, you know, help them learn if and get them interested in the first place, because most kids listen to their parents a lot. I tried my best to when I was younger. Didn't always work that way, but but yeah, I think that that would be a great way to, you know, continue engagement and further that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Miss Deborah's presence on the Facebook platform is actually super huge. So I would definitely probably end up using her influence with parents in the Black community as well, to be able to broadcast this project. So that's actually a wonderful idea. I'm definitely gonna have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, of course, of course. And how did you like come up with this? What was like your thought process, and like, you know, did you have like a eureka aha moment, or is it just like a gradual brainstorming thing? Like how did you come up with this?
Well, it definitely started as like a brainstorming thing because I know Ms. Watkins really wanted us to develop a youth ambassador project, but I was kind of caught off guard with it. So I was like, okay, I need to think of something I'm actually really passionate about and something that I kind of have a familiarity with and I'm interested in researching more about. And I just thought back to every Black Students of California United conference that I ever went to, and remembering that they always had a financial literacy aspect to it. And I really loved engaging with it because it's something that is so overlooked by youth, especially as they're moving from high school into college. They're excited about the new social aspect, they're excited about the new academic aspect, and getting into the things they're passionate about and researching the things they're passionate about. But you know, you always have to have that the finances to back up your studies, the finances to back up your
Mhm.
lifestyle and whatnot. And it's something I always paid a lot of attention to, but I noticed that other students weren't very familiar with. So topics about like the difference between the savings and the checkings, how to set those up, the difference between a credit and a debit card, was information that I kind of already knew about, but I noticed that the students around me didn't know about. And I figured that this was actually a wonderful opportunity for me to continue doing my research about, you know, intergenerational wealth and how generational wealth never actually happened in the Black community due to slavery, due to the Jim Crow era, due to gentrification, gerrymandering, redlining, etc., and all the systemic oppression that, you know, occurred in Black communities. Um, and doing that research, but also supplementing it with, you know, information that's super useful for students, for adults, for people who are not familiar with how people get into debt, student loans, especially if you're going into college, you really need to take the opportunity to, you know, engage with finances and engage with stuff that's going to be affecting you in the future. So it's definitely something I wanted to, it was something that I was interested in before, but it was never like a eureka moment. I was just, I was really interested in financial literacy, and I just figured I could do a little bit more to research it and research how I could help other students like me who are not super familiar with it, but do want to learn more.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I personally am gonna I'll probably be like the first one clicking onto those videos because I just turned 19 in June, so I'm in college. I gotta learn how to get my stuff together real soon, once I'm out of school and everything, and while I'm in school too. So yeah, I definitely think that this is a much needed project, and I'm really looking forward to it. Um, when it's like all finished and all said and done. So yeah, leading on to this main question, this theme that I'd like to introduce for this episode is basically there's this organization that helps that basically tries to, I think they're called Dignity in Schools, if I'm correct. And they have this thing called the Week of Action, and their theme is basically for this year is counselors not cops and communities not cops. So I'm curious, like with your project, like how do you think like your target demographic can relate to the school to prison pipeline, and like how does your project relate to that, and what's your goal with just the community in general, how you want us to grow and move forward after the introduction of your project?
Yeah, it's definitely something I've had to think long and hard about. My project is definitely more about financing than the other issues that plague Black and Brown communities, such as police presence on campuses. But after thinking about it a little further, cops target communities of color and other communities due to poverty. It's one of the easiest things to target because they figure cops, there's a statistical link between poverty and crime. And so by going to underfunded schools or schools that have less funds due to lower property values in the area and the surrounding area, it's easier for cops to establish a presence on campuses and allow for higher arrests, more disciplinary action, which contributes to the school to prison pipeline. So this is also something that's a subject of my research, is understanding how poverty links to mental health illnesses and ailments, mental health problems, linking it to lower property values and linking it to crime, linking it to the probability of crime, linking it to just the student environment overall. And, finding that police presence just doesn't happen to be. It's not that it's coincident. It's not coincidence that there's more police on campuses that are in neighborhoods that are underserved. There's not a police presence at these suburban, super white, ultra rich communities and campuses and schools. Poverty does play a huge role in why there's police on campuses. And so mobilizing the community to addressing the issues of poverty, as well as mobilizing the community against cops on campuses, is definitely something that my project can help bring attention to. Cops tend to go towards poverty, like in more impoverished schools, because of mental health issues, as poor students do have more mental health problems, and they're more likely to commit crime or do action that is more subject to disciplinary action, because mental health problems are not addressed and not supported in schools. Recidivism is a huge problem in terms of people with mental health problems, which is basically the likelihood that they'll commit the same actions over and over again. And police prey on it. And police, with their presence on campuses, they prey on the fact that people with mental health problems are not getting support, and instead can look to arrest rather than support. So
Yes.
by implementing So by implementing and mobilizing the community to address mental health problems and addressing poverty, by putting counselors in, it's two birds with one stone. Reducing recidivism, reducing disciplinary action, reducing arrest rates, while also eliminating the need for cops on campuses, because of this idea of, the opposition always likes to put this idea that, it makes them safer. The cops are making the campuses safer. And, there's underlying there's underlying concerns that are not addressed when they say it makes the campus safer, when you could attack the root of the problem rather than just putting a solution that doesn't actually help anybody, and leads to more consequences for the Black community. I don't know if I addressed your question really well, but it's, the
No,
school person.
no, I
Go
think
ahead, go
that's
ahead.
a fantastic response. I really appreciate it. I especially appreciate the fact that you brought up recidivism, because like including more cops in these areas and these campuses on schools, it's not addressing the roots of the problems, like you said, like for example, mental health and poverty. There's just like a complete strong, like there's a very strong link between both of those issues that I think that your project will really help to address and bring to the spotlight. So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that response, Alex. I don't know if I can call you Alex.
No, absolutely. I prefer being called Alex anyway, so it's totally
Okay,
fine.
perfect. But yeah, this that basically concludes this episode. So yeah, Alexis, is there any outlet like email, social media you would like anyone to reach out to in case they have any questions or they want to know where to find your information for your project when it's coming out?
Yeah, my Facebook is Alex Stattion, so it's like just my regular name. I don't know if you're gonna put my last name on the podcast title, but it's Stattion. No one knows how to spell it. No one knows how to pronounce it, so it's totally fine if you can't find it. It's just station with an extra T. My Instagram handle is the same. It's Stattion Alex with no other punctuation, and my Snapchat is also the exact same thing. So if you guys ever want to reach out to me, ask any questions about my project, or have any recommendations about what you would want my project to focus on, if you are want to learn more about a certain topic, I would love any feedback or advice, or any information that you want me to look into. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Alex. All right. I'm going to end the podcast here. So I'm going to stop recording. So thank you so much, everyone. And tune into the next one.